why, I'm feeling so hyper, and then you have a downer afterwards. So again, this is largely diet related. And also that diet has an impact in terms of your digestive system, many other kind of disorders, your immune system. So of course, a balanced diet is something very important. And sleep is a very critical one. Sometimes people don't seem to understand, I often forget that sleep is a natural healer. And our bodies are actually designed to heal themselves, And the way they heal themselves is by having our sleep. Okay, we release growth hormone, and that growth hormone then repairs our bodies and kind of maintains the kind of homeostatic balance within our body. So, and that repair mechanism obviously is kind of initiated when we go into the REM sleep, the rapid eye movement sleep, when we go into what's called deep sleep. So when you're in that deep sleep process, your body is naturally healing itself. Now, one of the interesting things when you are emotionally unstable, or when you have a mental health and an emotional distress problem, is quite often what happens as a result of that is your sleep pattern is severely disrupted. So you'll find people cannot sleep. Obviously, I'm jet lagged still, so I don't know, I think it's currently 6 o'clock in the morning where I come from, so I'm kind of a bit disorientated even still in terms of my sleep pattern. But you'll find whether it's a depression, whether it's a psychosis or a neurosis, whatever the psychological problem is, it has an impact in terms of sleep. So therefore, the natural healing process of sleep is prevented because of your erratic sleeping behavior. So again, that's one of the simple rectifying mechanisms. Get back to having plenty of sleep. Plenty of exercise as well, physical exercise. Keep the body in balance. Spend time with family and friends. We mentioned yesterday the importance of having a positive social network. Having people who energize us, inspire us, motivate us, encourage us. Remember what we said, if you're in the environment of people who are putting you down, making you feel bad about yourself, comparing you to other people, put downs, they destroy the self-esteem of an individual. They cause you to have that kind of insecurity. Next, talk to others about the things which worry you. So try to develop this situation where you are open in terms of talking to others about the feelings that you have. And again, this is difficult. Certain cultures have a difficulty, have an obstacle or a problem in terms of expressing their feelings because they see this as something which is negative and difficult. Be aware of your strengths and the things you find difficult. Know the warning signs. So these are some of the signs of good emotional health. Now also I gave this framework to you, and it's a really simple and practical framework that you can take away, where it refers to the 4 segments of our life that we need to maintain a balance in our mind, our body, our soul, and in our relationships, with our family and our friends. And what we need to do is that, if you can take this away, on a weekly basis, ask yourself the question. What am I doing to enrich myself, to develop myself in each of those 4 segments on a regular and consistent basis? What am I doing? And remember what we said, here at university, what you're doing is that you're using your intellect, so you're using your mind, obviously, all the time. But what do you give your mind back? One of the things, for example, you can give your mind back is meditation. To take a bit of time out, to kind of relax the mind, and to enrich the mind. Okay, learn something different, which is very different from your area of study. And I know now that many companies, many large corporations, they require their staff in their personal development time to do some study which is completely the opposite of what they do in their core work. So for example, if they are an engineer, they're required to do something completely opposite to that. So poetry, or flower arranging, or windsurfing, a completely different experience. So, and what they've actually found is that then gives them a creative edge. It actually enhances the work that they actually do. Taking different classes will give you a different perspective and actually will make you think much more creatively about your work. Likewise with our bodies, we're using our physical bodies all the time. What are you giving you back to your body in terms of sleep, in terms of diet, in terms of exercise, in terms of rest? And most importantly, probably, in terms terms of the soul, you know, the soul, whether you have a faith or don't have a faith, it's really about the concept of the big questions in our life. And you know, some things are metaphysical. They can't just be quantified, like I said, in logical and scientific terms. For example, love, as I mentioned. Another term is hope. Being hopeful, things are getting better. Hope as a quality, try to define it in a logical sense. It's very difficult to do because itself it's a very kind of spiritual concept. So therefore, in terms of our soul, you know, what we need to do is, what am I doing to nurture my core values, nurture my morality, nurture my inner self, my own consciousness? What am I doing to nurture that? And whatever you do, however you choose to do that, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's fasting, whether it's praying, whatever it is, you know, whether it's just deep reflection. Again, there's a need for the soul to be balanced. And likewise with our family and friends. The more we invest in other people positively, the more you find that comes back in terms of a positive relationship with them. And the more, and in many ways, look, in terms of the relationship counselling that I do, this is the classic scenario that I have in relationship counselling. You'll find either the male or the female, either of them. They'll say, oh, I'll talk about the men, and the men will say, it's all her fault, you know, she's the reason why the relationship isn't working, she's like this, she's like that, usually colourful language, all kinds of things said about her. And, okay, I said, look, I tell you what, make a list of all of your faults. Okay? And so that person will make a list of all of their faults. I said, be honest. And when they actually make a list of all of their faults, they start to realise, well, actually, I've got a lot of problems here. And the way that I behave in a relationship is reciprocated by my partner. So, for example, if I'm aggressive, then you get an aggressive response back. You know, if I'm someone who is untrustworthy, then that breaks trust with my partner. So therefore, take personal responsibility for your actions. So with all of these 4 segments, what we need to do is, if you really want to be what we call holistic and develop your whole self, you've got to be asking yourselves a question. And this really will, you know, enhance you as a human being and in terms of what you are trying to do in terms of your career in the long term. I think one of the first slides that I mentioned yesterday, emotional health and emotional development, you'll find now is one of the most in-demand characteristics in the corporate sector. They want people who are not robots. They want people who have a very broad perspective, who understand reality and connect with human beings and connect with society. One of the interesting and amazing things I always found about, although I'm a social scientist and I've always done the arts and humanities most of my life, not really very scientific, but I was always impressed by Nikola Tesla. I liked Tesla for a reason, because what I liked about Tesla was the idea that he invented with a social imperative. He wanted his inventions to have a benefit for society. Whereas, who was his contemporary? Can anyone remind who was his contemporary? Got out of my mind. Tell me, you're a scientist. Who was Tesla's contemporary? Edison, yeah, Edison. Whereas Edison really was inventing to make money, really. His was a commercial venture. Whereas Tesla, his venture was much more about society and having a positive social impact through his invention. So this is an important kind of responsibility that we have. Okay. Right, what I want to move on to now is a bit more around resilience, come back then to kind of emotional well-being, and then hopefully take a bit of a break and then come back for questions. So I'm going to go through some stuff quite quickly as well, otherwise we won't get through as much material. Now, okay, imagine this situation. You're walking through the woods and you tread in some dog poo. Okay, you know you've tread in the dog poo, you slip a bit, and then you look and you can see all this smelly dog poo over your shoe. Nice shoes, imagine you've got some lovely sneakers, yeah, brand new sneakers you've got on. And you know how difficult to get dog poo off your sneakers, you know how that is. So the question is, how do you respond? This really defines, in many ways, the kind of person you are, and gives you an indication of resilience. Resilience is this ability to deal with life's challenges proactively, positively, constructively, learn from them, bounce back. Every single one of you in this room is going to have challenges in your life and have had challenges in your life. Certain people deal with these kind of, this is just a tiny challenge. It's the way we deal with the stuff. That's important. So can someone tell me, you know, be honest, how would you respond if this were to happen to you? Who wants to start? 3 broad responses. Anyone? Go on, Sophie.
I'd probably have a big laugh about it first.
You laugh about it? Okay.
And then sit down and think, how can I get my shoe cleaned in a proper way?
Okay.
Restore to its original state.
Okay.
And then probably ponder on how not to do it next time.
Okay, very good. Okay, good. How many people like Sophie here? How many? Okay, we've got a few people. The same? Yeah? Who's got a different outlook here? Who's someone with a different outlook?
I'm going to surah first, and then I laugh.
Okay.
And after that I try to clean it.
Okay, right, good. Interesting, interesting. Who did you swear at? Who are you swearing at?
Maybe my chance or something like this.
Okay, right, that's why it happened. Okay.
I will feel sad for my shoes, and then I will just clean them up.
Okay, good.
I'll find the water tap and try to wash off the dog's poo first.
Okay, right. All right, that's how we respond. But also, I want you to tell me also about, okay, what your feelings are about this. What are your feelings? You know.
I generally speak indifferent. First I scold my neighbor. Why this doggy left me?
Okay, why did he do this? Yeah, okay. And what are you going to say when you get your hands on him? What are you going to do, you know?
Of course.
Okay.
So, maybe, be honest, I say. First I scold my neighbor. Then I will think about my shoe.
Okay, first. Go after him first. Yeah, all right, okay.
But there's a question in my mind.
Yes.
In what situation we are in, like, are we in rush, or we just,
Just
scrolling
walking,
around?
Just walking through the path.
So we just sort of relaxing, right?
Yes, yes. Then it's fine. Okay, what? Okay. No problem. Okay. Okay.
I would probably blame myself for not looking where I put myself.
Okay. I should be looking where I'm going. My fault. Yeah? Okay, interesting. Any last comments? Anyone else got a comment on this? We'll take one more.
I'll say how it will serve me in the future.
Okay.
What was the purpose of it?
Okay. How do you mean, what is it? Go on.
I mean, I won't blame it like, why did this happen?
Okay.
I'll say what this happened for.
Okay, what's the reason for that? I'll take a lesson from it, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good. And I'll say I won't do this again, I'll look where I'm going, something like that. Okay. All right, some interesting responses there. And what you'll find is responses fall into 3 broad categories. These 3 broad categories are very interesting because they show our outlook on the world, and also they show a disposition in terms of our emotional state. So the first is a bit small here, but I think the next slide is something. The first one is it's up to me. Okay? What is that? This is all my fault. I am responsible for my own actions. I decided to walk in this particular way. I should have been walking where I'm going. I'll take a lesson from that. I've stepped in this poo. Okay, that's just how it is. I'll clean off my shoe, move on. Because really, my actions, I am responsible for my own actions. So this is response number 1. Response number 2 is, the world is against me. So this response is this. You're going along, you step in the poo, and then you go, why does this always happen to me? every time I'm walking along, these things happen to me, and you think that everyone